Okay, everybody, hello and welcome back to another My Math lesson. Today we're looking at Chapter 9, Lesson 5. And let's start with some questions that you'll need to be able to answer. What are three ways of recording data? What three ways have we talked about? What is a horizontal bar graph? What is a vertical bar graph? So bar graph, that's one of the answers to the first question. What is another way of saying data? What is the difference between a tally chart and a picture graph? All right, so today we're still looking at how we can record and analyze data and how can we analyze bar graphs. Okay, so in earlier lessons we talked about how we could make these graphs and charts. Now we want to know how we can use that information. Okay, so today we're looking at analyzing bar graphs. This is on page 555. And our essential question is the same as before. Now let's look at this chart here. Uh, we would do this a little bit differently in class. You're going to have to ask family members or friends. Maybe you'll have to make a few phone calls to get information. But this chart uh, wants us to ask about what people think the healthiest food is. Now, the reason I know that is that this chart, like all good ones, is labeled. There it says healthful dinner, and notice that healthful has FUL at the end, which is right, it's a suffix, and even though the word full is spelled with two L's, when it's a suffix, it's only spelled with one. Right. We drop the bonus letter. Good. So we've got a label there, and then we've got dinner, that's another label, and then we've got number, that's another label. So let's say I asked my family, and three people said chicken and broccoli was the most healthful dinner, the healthiest dinner. And one person said pizza, that might have been me, and one person said spaghetti. Great, the chart is complete. Now we need to just record that information in a different way. So then what we're going to do is move the information from the chart to the lines below. How many people like chicken and broccoli in my example? Three. And we'd put a 1 on the line for pizza and a 1 on the line for spaghetti and a 0 on the line for milk and cookies. If you can, ask everyone in your family, maybe if you can make a couple of calls and try and get 10 people or 9 people and just use yourself as the 10th person. Okay, let's move on to the next page. All right, let's look at the top here. Owen surveyed his class about their favorite ice cream flavors. Then he made a bar graph to show the data. All right, we've got the tally chart on the left, the bar graph on the right. So all of the information's been collected for us. So Owen surveyed 21 classmates. There are two ways we know this. What are they? Right. We could count up all the tallies or count up all the blocks in the bar graph, all the bars. And the answer will be 21. Good. All right. I think you can answer these questions at the bottom. I don't think you need me to give you those answers. So good luck. Okay. Now let's look at this one here. Also not very difficult, but let's just read some of these. So number 4, what color hair do 5 students have? Okay, we would look at the bar graph on the right and find out which one has 5 blocks colored in. Number 5, what color hair do 4 students have? And again, you don't need me to give you the answer here. Number 6, you need to be careful with. What 2 hair colors do the same number of students have? Ooh, 2 hair colors, the same number of students. So for number 4, did you say brown? I hope so. What did you say for number 5? Good, blonde. And you see that E at the end? This is a trick word. We don't pronounce that E. Okay. How about for number 6? Good, red and black. Okay, number 7. How many students were surveyed and how are we going to figure this out? That's it. Just add up all the blocks and you'll get 15. Number 8. Oh, this one is a little tougher. How would this graph change if 20 students took the survey? It's true, it might not change at all, but it probably would. How would the graph change? The bars would be longer because if one more person had brown hair, it wouldn't fit on this chart. Number 9. Pause here and complete those. Okay, number 9. Which pet do most students have? There's your answer. Number 10. Which 2 pets do the fewest students have? I'll read that again. Which 2 pets do the fewest students have? Cat and bird. We're looking for 2 pets and the fewest students, which means the smallest number. And number 11, how many students have cats and birds? Just be careful here. Hopefully you said 6 and not 3. Yes, 3 people have cats, 3 people have birds, but it's asking for us to add both of them together. All right, let's move on. Okay, page 558. Use the bar graph to answer the questions. The bar graph is all finished for us. All we're doing is analyzing it. We're trying to get some information. How many more people like reading or board games than playing video games? It's kind of a long question. So here's what we need to do. How many people like reading? Well, we'll go to our chart and get information. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we know that 4 people like reading. Or Board games. Let's go to our chart. How many people like board games? 2. And what are we going to do with that 4 and that 2? We're going to add them. 4 plus 2 equals 6. How many people like these compared to the number of people who like playing video games? Well, our video game bar tells us that 3 people like that. So, how many more people like reading or board games rather than playing video games? 6 minus 3. And I know we all know how to figure this out. Okay, now look at number 13. And I'm going to read them and then I want you to pause them and try to figure them out. Samantha also chooses an activity. Then 3 activities are the favorite of the same number of people. Which activity did she choose? Okay, so Samantha chooses an activity. Then 3 activities are the favorite of the same number of people. Which activity did she choose? Okay, and here's the answer. Video games. Why? Let's go back to the chart. We know that there are 4 people who like playing outside. There are 4 people who like reading. And Samantha chooses one of these activities. Well, if she chooses one here, then it makes sense for the rest of our problem. The favorite of the same number of people. If she chose a board game, it wouldn't really be the same as 2 other people. Now, let's go to an even harder one, number 14. And remember, we're in the Brain Builder section. 10 more people were surveyed for the graph above. 3 more people like board games. 3 more people like video games. The rest like playing outside. Now, how many people like each activity? What you'll need to do, if you can't do it in your head, it's okay. You might need to draw this one out. Maybe you need to make another graph. Or maybe you need to find some other way of adding blocks or drawing this to get the information. I'm going to pause here and then I'm going to give you the answer. Okay, here we go. If we do all this, 6 people like video games, 8 people like playing outside, and 4 people like reading, and finally 5 people like board games. Okay, all we've done is just add to the bar chart, to the bar graph, sorry. Okay, for homework, please do pages 559 and 560. And I hope you have a great day. And if you need anything, let me know. Goodbye. The end.